joined by Shadow after this crazy series. Oh, wow, I don't even know where to start. Shadow, congrats on taking down G2. I guess, I mean, your Nexus had 20 HP.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. How did you win this one?
I think they didn't play correctly the last few minutes of the game. I think they should have just run down one lane and just ult bar us and just go for the Nexus. Instead, they just tried to go for the top side tower, I think, and we just collapsed them and we just won the game after that.
I'll be honest with you. I really thought G2 would take this one. We know how they usually bounce back after Game 5. And it was your first playoff series. How did you manage to reset your mindset, especially after Game 4?
We knew that we were the one that messed up on Game 4, so we just had to reset, and we knew that today we were the better team and we just played our style, I think.
Yeah, and that's what paid off for you so far. I mean, imagine being G2 and choosing to face you, thinking they're safe, but it turns out they're trapped with you in a crazy best of 5 series. Can we still call you the underdogs after this one?
I don't think we're the underdogs anymore. I think every team should fear us and fear the Lions.
Oh, and looking at round 2 now, what did you learn from this series that will help you in the following games?
Well, I think that best of 5 are really fun, and I think they didn't adapt very well in the draft, and we were able to adapt very well throughout the games, and I think we can just beat every team right now.
I agree. I mean, surprising G2, even if in the drafting phase, that's a big achievement coming from a rookie team. And some might say better jungler wins, but here you were the player of the series. So how do you take it?
I think Jankos didn't have the best of his games, I would say. I think we played very well around overall as a team, and we were able to play around me, and I get to shine, I guess.
And as you said, every team right now should be worried to face you, and you will be facing either Origin or Fnatic, or whoever will win in round 1 tomorrow. So who do you think it will be?
I think it's gonna be more Fnatic. I think overall they're probably the best team in Europe right now, and I think Origin have much chance against them.
Well, we'll see how Fnatic can handle this mad Lions that we have right now. Shadow, congrats again on taking down G2 in Game 5. And to wrap up this first day, we're going to send it out to PGL. Take it away, Sharks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad we had an interview, so we had a bit of time to kind of calm down. I also hope that my mic is fixed because I am going to talk loud because I'm goddamn excited. Wow. Unbelievable. This is the LEC post-game lobby, of course. I'm joined by VODS. I'm joined by Frostcurrent. But can I just get an initial reaction from the both of you? I don't know who wants to go first about this monumental upset that the Mad Lions have completed over G2.
Okay, so I'm going to be real frank. We did not see the highest level.
I don't want to hear it right now.
No. But here's the thing. When G2 threw, but when someone throws, someone does need to catch it. But Mad Lions did not just catch. They, spiked the ball to the ground. They tackled G2. They dragged them all the way. That was vicious from the Mad Lions. And for how close G2 kept that Game 5 while being, 11k gold down was absolutely absurd. But you don't normally see that type of patience from a rookie squad to constantly be on guard, constantly be protecting their Nexus base while continuously skirmishing and continuously fighting G2. That was incredible. They were tested and pushed to the limits. They had to have so much endurance to hang.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of lost for words because I legitimately think that Mad just played better overall. Shadow said it perfectly. He was definitely the better team on the day. How can you deny it? They should have won Game 4, and they threw it away. And then Game 5, we're now looking at it okay, classic G2, they're going to do it again, where, they come back into Game 5, they reset, and then you look at this early game, and you're thinking, Mad, you guys played really well, we're thinking about all these things to say about them, you can still make a good run, but then, they turn it around, they punish the mistakes over and over and over again. The patience, as Frost was saying, is so accurate, and it's perfect. Mad have done something that no one thought was possible. They were able to take down the reigning champions G2, and they didn't just do it through luck, they did it because they were better. And now they're guaranteed to be top 3 in Europe this split.
Get online, at them, find them on Twitch, send them everything. Like the biggest, the disappointment of this is that there wasn't an audience to be there with Mad, because I can only imagine what happened in the room with them after this Nexus goes down, after they beat G2, after they undo these kings. So like, light up social media, make the crowd. I know it sounds like super corny, but like spam them, start telling them how amazing they are, because they played out of their goddamn minds tonight.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're right, and I think they should do that, but that begs the question, a discussion we had here earlier, will it benefit some of the rookies that there isn't that roaring crowd, that they have taken out some of the elements, and does it work against some teams who are used to it? I'm not gonna say this is definitive proof, we have to hear it from them, but hey, it could be. I'm not taking anything away from them, to be clear, right? Because you gotta play under the circumstances you're given.
And that's the thing, like, we're in a situation that no one saw coming, we're trying to make the best of it, but ultimately you can only do what's been put in front of you, and Mad performed on the day. They did what was in front of them, and G2 didn't.
Exactly. We are still looking at some images from the game, so I just want to come back to that game 5, because can we just kind of summarize how crazy that was? Shades of Fnatic OMG hitting that Nexus. All you had to do was hit it 2 more times and G2 win this game, and it's a different story, but oh my god, it was
Shocks,
madness.
it was like, I hate to say it, but Caps, he messed up. Like, he messed it up. That's like Larson Corky alt package into Fountain level mess up, right? Like, the game could have been over with that. He closed the gap between him and people running out of the Fountain. It was 1-2 more autos that could have been the game for G2 in the series, and the misexecution. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but Mad almost lost this series, and it was so insanely close. Like, you know, we need to watch it in slow-mo again. Like, that whole play is going to be broken down, and we're going to figure out perfectly exactly if it was even possible. But in the moment, like, it could have gone the way of G2. That's how close this game was.
But ultimately, it's like, we'll go back over it. We'll see if there was anything that Caps could have done if he actually did mess up. It looked like a mess up to me. But there was also the fact that he got caught out in that mid lane on Aphelios. Like, there's multiple instances where Caps was supposed to be the difference maker, was supposed to be the best player that Europe has ever created, and fumbled this series really hard. And I think Amazing brought it up in a tweet. I know that we're going to like really deep dive into it.
Let's do it now. Go ahead, Frosk.
So, okay, the question is this iteration of G2 better than 2019? Amazing was talking about how Caps just isn't a comparable ADC to Perks. Perks was playing traditional ADCs, he was playing the mages. When he went to MSI, he was in top form, whereas now you see this series from Caps. And maybe it's like recency bias. Maybe if Caps runs this on a different day, we see some of his Senna gameplay that we saw earlier on in the split, like his regular split, his Talia, his Senna, that all looks really good. But right now, Caps does look like a liability in terms of his champion pool and his comfort on how he's playing this new position, his responsibility to the team, rather than having, I think Amazing used the words agency, being the guy who's in control of the entire map, from being in that mid lane position to being in the bot lane.
What I think is really fascinating is an argument that was brought up during the split was that Perks is a much more cerebral player. He thinks a lot more about what he's doing and why he's doing it. And when he's in the mid lane, the way in which he uses that is by generating pressure all over the map. He uses his mid priority extremely well. He split pushes extremely well. He does things that many mid laners don't think about because he's always thinking and always adapting. And that suited him very well as an AD carry because he and Caps can match each other in terms of mechanics, but the way he thought about the game naturally made him adapt and develop into a position where he could offer so much even in a different role. But I don't think we see that from Caps. And a lot of the debate right now is this the swap that made it, that's the reason why G2 is losing? And yes, I think Caps had a weak series overall, but I think to pin the series on Caps is too narrow-minded, because this G2 roster had a slew of mistakes. There was not a single player that was costing them the game. There were moments, there were key moments, yes, where Caps was the deciding factor, but when you just look at the game in its entirety, it wasn't Caps just running it down every game. There were poor performances all across the board, and even Jankos, who I thought was like the most consistent player in the first three, his game 4 performance was incredibly weak. So this is a G2 issue right now. G2 are not performing at the level that we expected, and that's what also helped elevate Mad. Like, they cleanly executed their plays. They picked apart these mistakes from G2, and they were just given these opportunities that they were not afraid to take. And I think that we saw a clear gap in today's game.
Yeah, and listen, I do want to give us some more time to talk about this now, because I think it's very interesting. After that, I do want to sing more of the praises for Mad Lions. But what you said there was so... And it's like, is it the chicken or the egg, right? Because you say this was a G2 issue, but the fact that G2 is out of sorts could very well stem from the fact that they will just not build up the same synergy and are not getting the same output.
I mean, that's the debate,
from a
right,
Caps
isn't
at
it?
mid and Perks and bot. I mean, you can look at it that way.
I mean, I think you're completely right, like, because one of the things that we used to praise G2 so much for in the past was whatever happens, the moment 15, 20 minutes hits, G2 becomes this different beast, right? Like, in the mid game, they just evolve and they will just slaughter you. And I don't think we see that same level of performance. Their early game definitely improved, and a lot of that, I think, especially in the second half of the split, we gave credit to the synergy of Jankos and Perks. But now, that mid game, that clean execution, that clear, meticulous play in which G2 just move around the map so fluidly, like, we were seeing it in the regular season. This team went 8-1 in the second half of the split. The fact that they're so different now, just in the first week of playoffs, like, it's crazy to me. Well, I don't know what has happened here, but it is stark and it is fascinating, because no one expected this to happen. And now we've got a G2 esports who's in our lower bracket.
That's cool.
But that's the thing, though. Like, while they're not out due to the format change that we've had, it means that they have a second chance. And coming into this, like, if you just like snapshot, think back a couple of hours ago when we were building up into this, we brought up all of those stats. Leading up into this moment, G2 were destroying opponents. Like, statistically, they were just out of their mind playing well, especially in the early game. So we have a best of 5 on the day where it all falls apart, and they have a second chance to prove that this was just once. If you played this best of 5 on any other day, it would have been a G2 victory. And that's not taking anything away from Mad. Like, that's sometimes how the incredible storyline goes. But the next best of 5 will be the tell. Did G2 actually get exposed? Was this just a bad day? Did they not have their Wheaties? Like, what the hell happened? And thank God we have this playoff format that we actually get an answer to that.
And I also think it's kind of telling that it's not like we're biased against G2, but there seems to be a reason why we're excited that they dropped the ball once. And you think, well, that's counterintuitive, because don't you want them to get better? But I think this is how they get better, right? And by seeing them drop down to the lower bracket and by having to deal with those issues, there will be a net positive, or maybe this is the start of the demise. But let's focus on the playoff bracket for now and not be too negative. There you see it.
Sharks, you want to know what I'm excited about? Here's my personal bias coming through.
Yes.
Someone who isn't G2 and Fnatic, right, could win. Like, Mad smash them, right? What does Fnatic look like? What is, like, sure, I'm jumping ahead. Of course, there's still a lot of the playoffs to go, but that is what is so exciting to me. And it's rookies, again. How does Europe do this? Like, we keep producing these talented players that just kind of upset the apple cart time after time. And last year we were like, no one can rival the ultimate beings that are G2 and Fnatic. They're only getting stronger. You know, like, it's these same storylines. But now we have Mad, who in the first round have upset G2. Now, like, everyone's going to be excited to see what they do against Fnatic or Origin. Like, one of those two. And it's crazy to think that because of how our playoff works, G2, who is the first seed, automatically moves into match 6, the third round. Whereas Origin or Fnatic will then play the winner of Misfits Rogue. Like,
It's mad.
It's crazy. It's so exciting. I'm so excited for this playoffs.
And can we just say, this couldn't be giving you any more reasons to watch EU Masters and watch the regional leagues, because this Mad Lions team is made up of players who all 5 of them played in the regional leagues maximum 2 years ago, and some of them even last year, going from EU Masters victories, finals, but also good results in their respective ERL leagues in Spain, in Germany, in France, to get here now at this point in time. And I think that's just great, kind of as a European broadcaster and as a fan of the LEC, to see that can happen no matter under which circumstances it does happen.
I mean, we sound like a broken record. We're like, oh, yes, the European rookies, all of our talent. Look at it. What will we do with it all? And while that is all true, look at it. I do want to give huge shout out to Mac, Peter Dunn, and the entire coaching crew behind the Mad Lions. Losing Duke or parting ways with Duke, we thought was going to hurt extremely. Peter has already given like mad props to Mac, who had to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and the proof is in the pudding that you took a team brand new in their first split and you took down the reigning champions, and I don't really care what happens from here on out. Like, you're good in my book.
I do. Because listen, this is it, right? I think we're rightfully very, very excited, but now I'm hungry. Now I want to see what they can do. And as said, we looked at the bracket. I'm also hungry. It's late. Like, we didn't expect this to go 5 games, let's be honest. But I want to see more, and I'm just so enthralled by what we are going to get next in these playoffs. Fun fact is also that the Mad Lions guarantee a top 3 spot in spring. That's absolutely crazy. But we're going to stop talking about it now. It was great. I want to see more. I want to see what they can do. And I want to see what can happen. But now let's focus on tomorrow, because this was day 1. What do you want? Go ahead.
Just one more compliment, because I feel like we've spent a lot of time talking about like G2, and yes, that's going to be like the hardcore analysis into the series, but just very quickly down the line. They played amazing weak side on a Romney. Humanoid showed up on tanks and carries and was styling on people. Shadow was pathing out of his mind and outplayed Yankos. Karzi and Kaiser made a statement they are top 3 bottom lane in the LEC, trying to go for top 2 if they can take down Fnatic's or Origin. So with that, now I'm all out of mad compliments. You guys rocked.
All right, fantastic. I think it needed to be said, but as you can see now, that second best of 5 is tomorrow. Fnatic versus Origin. Now, Frosk, I am going to throw back something we talked about. You said very early on in the day, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this has of course been 5 games and we have much more information, but you said before this series entirely played out the way it did, that you had an inkling, a thought, and an observation that Fnatic would be the true strong team in this playoffs and could be further above G2 than we had thought. Do you want to elaborate on that?
I think we were in game 2 and you and I were just talking back and forth, and I was like, Fnatic are now the strongest team in Europe, which doesn't seem like that controversial of a statement after we've now seen all of this series play out. But at the time, we're like, oh no, have we seen a tectonic shift in power here? And yes, I think pending on what form, because it could be that tomorrow's game, we see Origin and Fnatic and they both look like hot fire or hot dumpster fire. Either one changes that, but right now, from like the end of what we've seen from Fnatic to what we saw from G2 today, I think safe money probably on Fnatic as like the scary team. Shadow said it in his interview as well.
All I'm gonna say is that in week 8 and week 9, everyone thought that G2 was the strongest team in Europe. And like, we had fans vote on who they thought would win today, and I think it was 85-90% of people said that G2 was going to win. Now, I agree with you. On paper, Fnatic are my favorites.
Wait, only 95% said that G2 would win
this game. But right now, what we've seen is that not everything is that predictable. And I just want to lay it on the table that Origin is very similar to Mad in how they prepare for their games, right? They come in with a plan. They're very good at executing that plan. Yeah, again, a lot can happen in a best of 5, right? And you're right, they're not as explosive. But also, I didn't think that pound for pound, Mad would be able to compete with G2. And I think that Origin has a lot to prove, just mainly to themselves, because remember, they went 2nd place to 7th place, and now they finished top 3, and now there's an opportunity for them to make that run. Their first obstacle will be Fnatic. And again, I'm going to say on paper, Fnatic is the favorites, but you can't afford to count Origin out because they do have some of the best players in our league on their team, and I expect many interesting things to come out from them tomorrow.
Well, absolutely. And I think we'd be stupid to say, oh, it's going to be a blowout after what happened today, you know? And I'm definitely going to reconsider what I thought would happen.
Watch Origin get 3-0 now after
we'll see.
I still think it's going to be a blowout. I just want to put that one on the record.
Frost has it on the record. She still thinks it's going to be a blowout, and we'll come back to that. Of course, that is tomorrow. Game 1 will start at 5 p.m. and Ready Check will start at 4:30. No matter what time zone you were in, that's an hour earlier than today. So you got to tune in. Final word on that is that I think this has turned from a playoffs of almost certainty that we'd have the same champion into a wide open playoff bracket thanks to the Mad Lions. And I think if you're an Origin who is not as favored to win versus Fnatic, you have to seriously look at that. And if you're any of the other teams in that bracket, you now have to take this as an opportunity to win, because I don't think it was on the cards before we saw this result, and you can never say that, but I think every single team should take a long, hard look at themselves in the mirror, including G2 Esports, and see what kind of an opportunity they have here. And, you know, everyone's just quiet because they agree. I love that. We're going to sign off.
It was a great locker room speech. I was like, yes, more.
Okay, fantastic. I appreciate you. We're going to sign off. I know we can talk about this forever, but we want to have energy for those next 2 best of 5s. Breath. That was the first day of the spring playoffs. It absolutely delivered, but we have an amazing journey ahead of us. We can't wait for the next chapter. We'll see you tomorrow for Fnatic versus Origin.